Story 1. Am I the a-hole for asking my in-laws the same questions they ask me? I, female 30, got engaged to my fiancé a month ago. My in-laws, especially mother-in-law, are the type of people that ask a lot of questions. Personal questions at that. Their questions tend to be hurtful sometimes, but I've tried not to get easily offended or make it personal. But those questions are getting out of control. Instead of lashing out and being rude, I've decided to answer these questions by turning it back on my in-laws and asking them the same questions they ask me. For example, whenever my fiancé and I are visiting, my sister-in-law would ask, "Hey, when are you going to lose those pounds?" I go, "When are you going to lose those pounds? You've put on a lot of weight recently," while pointing at her, eyes wide open. She'd then get easily offended. Father-in-law would ask, "When are you going to get your own house?" I go, "When are you going to get your own house? Aren't you 73 and still paying rent for your house?" They live in a rental house. He gets highly offended. Brother-in-law would ask, "When are you going to get married?" I go, "When are you going to get married? You don't even have a girlfriend yet." They've obviously picked up on my vibe, but the blow-up occurred last night when my fiancé and I were at their house for dinner. Mother-in-law looked at me while I was eating and went on about kids and grandchildren. She then asked, "When are you going to start giving us babies?" My fiancé looked at me in an "oh boy" type of way. I felt no hesitation. I looked at her and said, "When are you going to start giving us babies? That's what I want to know." The table went quiet, though some family members laughed. Mother-in-law and her daughter and husband made all types of angry faces. Then dinner was over. I got scolded by my fiancé on the way home, telling me I was being rude with the way I talked back and respond to his family's innocent questions. Yeah, questions they've already asked a million times before. Hard eye roll, but whatever. We got into an argument, and he then looked at me and said, "Why are you being hostile?" I said, "Why are you being hostile, getting in my face and yelling?" He yelled at me again, saying I'm driving him crazy and called me childish and immature, then stormed off to the bathroom. Am I the a-hole, really? Honestly, I would say kinda. It's kind of like the argument sketch from Monty Python. You're just parroting back what the other person is saying back to them. If there was some sort of explanation after you're saying that, after you read their reaction and say, "Now you see, I'm just saying that because of if you notice the way you're reacting, I feel the same way when you're asking me these questions. I think they're personal, and I really feel uncomfortable being asked that," if there was a conversation. So, yeah, you're kind of. If you've already had that conversation and they're still responding by asking you all these personal questions, then I don't know what else to do. But, I mean, they're being complete a-holes. You're just sort of being a half to a quarter a-hole. Story 2. Am I the a-hole for telling my wife the lock on my daughter's door does not get removed till my brother-in-law and his daughters are out of our house? My brother-in-law, Sammy, lost his home shortly after his divorce 10 months ago. He moved in with us and brought his twin daughters, Olivia and Sloane, 18, with him a couple months ago. His sister, my wife, and I have one daughter, Zoe, 16, and she and her cousins aren't close but get along fine. Olivia and Sloane have no respect for Zoe's privacy. None. They used to walk into her room and take everything they get their hands on: makeup, phone accessories, clothes, school laptop, etc. Zoe complained a lot, and I've already asked the girls to respect Zoe's privacy and stop taking things. My wife and Sammy saw no issue with this. After all, they're girls, and this is typical teenage girls' behavior. I completely disagreed. Last straw was when Zoe bought a $60 MAC makeup kit that looks like a paint set that she saved up for over a month, and one of the girls, Sloane, took it without permission and ruined it by mixing shades together while using it. Don't know much about makeup, but that's what Zoe said when she found the kit on her bed and was crying. I told my wife, and she said she'd ask Sloane to apologize, But I got Zoe a lock after I found she was moving valuable belongings out of the house because of this incident. Sammy and his daughters saw the lock and weren't happy. The girls were extremely upset. Sammy asked about it, and I straight up told him. He said, "My daughters aren't thieves. It's normal that girls of the same age borrow each other's stuff." He said Zoe could easily get another makeup kit for $15 from Walmart and shouldn't even be buying expensive adult makeup in the first place, and suggested my wife take care of this defect in Zoe's personality, trying to appear older than she is. He accused me of being overprotective and babying Zoe with this level of enablement. I told him that's between me and my wife, but she shamed me for putting a lock on Zoe's door for her cousins to see and preventing them from spending time with her, saying I was supposed to treat them like daughters. Then demanded I remove it, but I said this lock does not get removed till her brother and his daughters are out of the house. She got mad I was implying we kicked them out, and said her family will hate me for this. So I reminded her that I let Sammy and his family move in, which is something her own family refused to do. So she should start with shaming and blaming them for not taking their own son and nieces/granddaughters in. If it wasn't for her family's unwillingness to help, we wouldn't be dealing with this much disturbance at home. Everyone's been giving me and Zoe silent treatment, and my wife is very much upset over this. Oh, definitely not the a-hole. Everyone is acting like his property is their property, and they're trying to cast blame on it. This guy, Sammy, has no problem with Sloane using this expensive makeup, but when the daughter is accused of taking it without permission, now it's a defect on Zoe's part trying to look older? This is this guy's house. They have no respect for this person's house at all, and he's still letting them stay there. Definitely not the a-hole. Story 3. Security made us show the last 5 photos on our phone. My coworker, an absolute hero, maliciously complied security on one of our subcontractor jobs. The customer was a manufacturer for high-end electronic equipment. Security was tight as a small 4x6 box could contain $250,000 worth of microchips. Our team was installing equipment in their facility for 1 week. A security checkpoint had to be passed every trip in or out of the building. Mr. Security Guard, Chad maybe, decided my coworker Steve probably was more suspicious than the other 4 techs. So every trip in or out, not only was Steve made to dump his entire contents of his backpack out on the table and go through it, Chad required Steve to show him the last 5 pictures taken on his phone to prove he wasn't stealing secrets. This is all fine, except Chad lets everyone else through without any sort of inspection. Steve is trying to stay positive, but obviously this is eating away at him. Steve tries to be overly positive and also a bit snarky with comments like, "Thank you, Paul Blart, for keeping America safe," which busts up the rest of our crew. Then, Steve has the idea that will free him for the rest of the week. Wednesday comes along. Steve is overly scrutinized on our way in as usual. As we head to security for lunch, Steve says he has to go to the bathroom. He comes back out a few minutes later, absolutely giddy. Chad Blart, mall cop, stops us on our way out and asks Steve to see his camera roll. Steve gladly hands over the phone. Chad is greeted by some very peculiarly angled shots of Steve's butthole. "What the frack?" Chad throws the phone down on the table. "Oh, sorry, I thought I had a hemorrhoid and wanted to see how bad it was. Is everything okay with my pictures? Is the facility safe?" Chad never checks Steve's materials again. Good on you, Steve. Yeah, if he was singled out, not the a-hole. Wants to check the last 5 photos on the phone? Yep, that's what you're going to get, the last 5 photos on the phone. I don't know why he was singled out, but if he was having everybody go through the same thing, it might be a little less a-hole-ish on the guard's part.
Please like and subscribe if you made it this far. I hope you'll enjoy the rest of the video and have a wonderful day.
Story 4. Neighbor's mother wants my husband's parking spot permanently. Our car was stolen in June and then returned to us at the end of July. It's being worked on, and my husband has to tell our neighbor's mother who visits that she can no longer park in our parking spot. All well and good until today when I'm coming home from some errands. The lady is on our stoop asking for my husband and if there's a way he can extend her parking allowance in our spot. She explains she's moving into the townhouse next to us to help care for her grandkids, and she sees that our car is a lost cause. She has said that us losing our car was great so she can park closer to the townhouse and not have to park on the street. What I told her and what my roommate/landlord has told her is thus: the car is being returned and instated in October, and you will have until then to make arrangements. This woman, who I'm assuming has no sense of reality, said the chances of our car ever working is nil and that we should just give her the parking spot. Our townhouses have assigned parking and guest parking spots are adjacent. I told her she has to wait until my husband comes home and talk to him. She literally said she won't talk to him and will just take the spot whenever she wants, regardless if we get our car working or not. Car is currently at my husband's father's being worked on. I know it seems petty, but I'm considering calling a tow truck the next time she does this. Update. Neighbor, who is the son of the woman, has gotten involved and sided with us on the matter. He also had told his mother to park in the guest parking spots from now on or not come here at all. She also lied to me about moving in. Big surprise. So far, I was giving a blessing if she does it again to call a tow truck. We did have someone park in our spot, but he asked if it was okay. He was part of a home inspection because one of our neighbors is selling his townhouse, and they were only there for 20 minutes. 2 different ways of dealing with parking. The last person had only a paragraph and did it completely right. Asked for permission, and he was only there for a little while. Why this woman demanded a parking spot? It seems like the guest parking is just a little too far for her willingness to walk. If she has some trouble walking, I could understand why she would want to park closer, but she's just going about it the wrong way. Absolutely. Story 5. Today I fracked up by genuinely forgetting I had a joint in my pocket and trying to board a plane in Amsterdam and getting caught. So this literally just happened 30 minutes ago. I would freely and happily admit that I tried this on purpose as a warning to others, but legitimately fracked up here. Came with a couple of friends for the weekend to Amsterdam for a birthday. It's a great city, pretty to look at and loads of fun. I'm sure most people know the Dutch have decriminalized the use of weed and you can visit coffee shops and buy and smoke joints. Had a fun party last night in town. Went to some coffee shops, got stoned, went to some bars, danced at a club, had a great night, but only a couple hours sleep. In a rush packing this morning, as I slept through the alarm, I put on last night's jeans with a joint in a plastic tube in my pocket. Front weird pocket in front of the main pocket, left over from last night. Got to the airport in reasonable time considering I slept through the alarm. Rushed toward security when suddenly this hideous sensation of my stomach dropping, like in a falling lift. Did I ditch that joint? At this stage, my rucksack is going through the scanner and the airport staff are guiding me through a body scanner tube that you stand still in with your hands in the air whilst something revolves around you. Sir, do you have anything in your pockets? Says the customs lady as she steers me towards the body scanner. Holy fracking smeg. What to do? I'm still not 100% at this point if there was a joint in my pocket or not. Do I come clean? No way, too late for that. Gotta try and style this out, as the pocket might actually be empty. Go to the tube, put hands up, get scanned, no problem. But Schiphol Airport is policy, possibly because of weed, frisk everyone as soon as they are out of the scan tube. I'm asked to put my hands in the air again as the airport guy starts to frisk intensely all over. I'm sweating bullets, and my scrambled mind is trying to remember the hazy details of last night's outing. Did I smoke that joint? Airport guy hands Pat's pocket. I feel objects being pressed into my hips. Frack, frack, frack. Sir, empty your pockets, please, says the airport guy. My partner, in the meantime, has passed security and is watching on. In slow motion, I see the penny drop on his face. I dig into that weird front mini pocket and pull out a small joint in a plastic tube, as sold in coffee shops, of my pocket. Audible gasps come out of the other passengers in the queue behind me. I feel my face turning almighty red and feel the room getting a bit spinny. I am passing away inside. I say to Pat-Down Guy, "Oh, deity, I'm really sorry. I forgot that it was in the..." Sure, that's what they all say, laughs airport guy, Pat-Down Guy loudly. I'm placed to one side. Customs security is called over. Was left nerve-shredding 30 minutes before he turned up. Just gonna take this moment an opportunity to say, the Dutch are a fracking fabulous bunch of people. Customs man comes over and takes one look at me, quivering near to tears, and says, "Don't worry, sir. Don't look so scared. You're 20th today, and you won't be the last. I'm sorry you have a government at home that's so restrictive, but unfortunately, I can't let you leave Amsterdam with this joint, as you will get in trouble at home." I almost wept with relief. I was made to sign a form to say he'd taken the joint off me, and that was it. I'm in a bar in Schiphol Airport in Amsterdam having a drink to steady my nerves. To all you Dutch, bless your hearts. You're the best. I'm sorry I was a hot mess and added to the problem of being a dumb fracking tourist. Too long didn't read? I was a hot mess and genuinely forgot I had a joint in my pocket, got caught with it. Dutch customs were amazing about it. I'm about to fly soon, and I don't think I will have nearly the ease if something goes wrong as this person did. I'm not saying I'm going to do anything I'm not going to do anything that's going to set anybody off. Even when I've had everything perfectly legal and down to a T, it's just still a hassle. So thanks to the Dutch for showing us the way to be good about security.
Please leave your story in the comments. I would love to make a video on them in the future. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe.